Baron Trump had taken hundreds of flights before, but this one was different. He was traveling alone, something he rarely did. The private jet was sleek, luxurious, and quiet. Too quiet. As he settled into his seat, he glanced at the flight attendants. Something about them felt off. They weren't the usual crew. Their movements were precise, their eyes sharp, almost as if they were watching him. His instincts told him something wasn't right. The pilot's voice came over the speaker. "We are ready for takeoff." Baron took a deep breath, watching as the runway blurred past. The plane lifted smoothly into the air. But just as he started to relax, the cabin lights flickered. A strange static buzzed through the intercom, and then the co-pilot's voice came on, low and urgent. "Mr. Trump, we have a situation." Double asterisk. Baron's heartbeat quickened. He stood up, making his way toward the cockpit. Before he could reach the door, one of the flight attendants blocked his path. Her face remained calm, but her stance was firm. "Please return to your seat, sir," she said, her tone unusually stiff. Baron's eyes narrowed. "I need to speak to the pilot." The woman didn't move. "That won't be possible right now." His chest tightened. Something was definitely wrong. Ignoring her, he stepped forward, only for another crew member to grab his arm. "You should sit down," the man said, in a quiet but firm voice. Baron yanked his arm free, his mind racing. Who were these people? And why were they stopping him from reaching the cockpit? Then, before he could react, the plane suddenly tilted to the side, the engines roaring. Baron stumbled, grabbing onto a seat to keep his balance. The pilot's voice crackled through the speakers. "We have an unauthorized signal interfering with our systems. Someone is trying to take control of the plane." Baron's blood ran cold. He turned back to the flight attendants. Their expressions remained eerily calm. Too calm. Realization hit him like a punch to the gut. They weren't real flight attendants. They were part of whatever was happening. His heart pounded as he stepped back. "Who are you?" he demanded. The woman sighed, removing a small earpiece from her ear. "Mr. Trump," she said softly, "it's best if you don't ask questions you're not ready to hear the answers to." Baron clenched his fists. "Tell me what's going on, now." The woman exchanged a glance with the man beside her. Then she whispered, "This flight isn't heading where you think it is." Double asterisk. Adrenaline surged through Baron's veins. He took a deep breath, forcing himself to think. He needed to get to the cockpit. That was his only chance. The jet was still tilting slightly, struggling against whatever system was interfering with it. Baron saw his opening. Without warning, he lunged forward, shoving past the fake flight attendants and sprinting toward the cockpit door. Alarms blared. The woman shouted, "Stop him!" But Baron was already at the door, slamming his fist against the emergency override panel. The lock clicked open. He threw himself inside, locking the door behind him. The pilot looked up, sweating. "Mr. Trump, we're under cyber attack. Someone is trying to hijack the jet remotely." Baron's breath came in sharp gasps. "Can we stop it?" The co-pilot pointed at a flashing screen. "We have one chance. We need to override the external signal manually, but we need time." Baron turned back toward the locked cockpit door. They didn't have time, because outside, the fake crew was already trying to break in. The cockpit door rattled violently. Baron grabbed a headset, scanning the controls. "What do I do?" The pilot didn't hesitate. "Hold that switch when I say. If we time it right, we can regain control." The pounding on the door grew louder. Baron's fingers tightened around the lever. "Now!" the pilot shouted. Baron pulled hard. The plane shuddered, alarms blaring. Then, suddenly, everything went still. The flashing warning lights stopped. The plane leveled. The interference was gone. The hijacking attempt had failed. Baron let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. The pilot looked at him, shaken but relieved. "You just saved this plane." But before Baron could respond, the pounding on the door stopped. Silence. He exchanged a glance with the pilot. Then slowly, he unlocked the cockpit door. The cabin was empty. The fake flight attendants, gone. No trace of them anywhere, as if they had never been there. Baron's heart pounded. Who were they, and what did they really want? And if you love unraveling mysteries, subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a story like this.